If you're a nice girl, you can either eat or be eaten. When people hear the phrase eat or be eaten, they usually imagine something aggressive. They imagine someone stepping on people, someone being selfish, someone being cold, but that's not what I mean. When I think about the phrase eat or be eaten, I think about survival. I think about the animal kingdom. In the wild, animals don't get points for being sweet. They don't get rewarded for being accommodating. They don't survive because they were the most understanding creature in the jungle. They survive because they know how to protect themselves. And to be honest, the older I get, the more I realize social dynamics aren't as different from nature as we'd like to believe, especially for recovering nice girls. Because a lot of us were raised with the idea that people pleasing equals safety. We learned that keeping everyone happy was how we avoided conflict, how we avoided rejection, criticism, and being abandoned. We learned how to read the room, walk on eggshells, monitor everyone's emotions, stay agreeable, stay pleasant, stay useful, stay small. And for a while, it feels like it's working, until one day you realize you're exhausted, resentful, and constantly being overlooked. And somehow, the very behavior that was supposed to protect you is making your life harder. That's when the nice girl starts experiencing one of the most confusing realizations of her life. No one feels sorry for nice girls. Not at all. People will absolutely accept your sacrifices. They'll totally benefit from your lack of boundaries. They're perfectly fine with letting you overextend yourself. But when you finally break down and say you've had enough, suddenly people start asking why you didn't speak up sooner, why you didn't say no, why you kept agreeing to things you didn't want to do, why you tolerated behavior you hated so bad. And it feels incredibly unfair. Because your entire life, you were taught that being accommodating was the right thing to do. Yet, when that strategy fails, you're often the one blamed for it. It's almost mind-boggling. The nice girl spends years trying not to inconvenience anybody, then eventually gets criticized for allowing herself to be inconvenienced. The nice girl spends years avoiding conflict, then gets blamed for not addressing problems directly. The nice girl spends years giving people endless chances, then gets called dramatic when she finally cuts someone off. It's a brutal lesson, because nobody tells you that people-pleasing often creates the exact problems it's supposed to prevent. The thing many nice girls don't realize is that boundaries aren't what create conflict. Boundaries reveal conflict that was already there. Think about it. If somebody gets angry because you said no one time, the problem wasn't the boundary. The problem is that they benefited from your lack of boundaries. A healthy person may be disappointed. They may prefer a different answer, but they don't lose their mind because you protected your time, energy, money, or peace. The people who become the most upset are often the people who are getting the most out of your self-abandonment. And that's a hard truth to sit with. Because nice girls desperately want to believe that if they just explain themselves well enough, everyone will understand. But sometimes they won't. And sometimes people understand perfectly. They just preferred the version of you that was easier to access. The version that never said no. The version that always gave more. The version that accepted less. And that's where the eat or be eaten lesson comes in. Because eventually, every nice girl reaches a crossroads. She has to decide whether she wants to continue prioritizing other people's comfort over her own well-being, or whether she's willing to become a little more assertive, a little more direct, a little more protective of herself. And when it comes to the phrase eat or be eaten, learning to eat doesn't mean becoming cruel or a bully. It means developing the skills that protect you from being consumed by everyone else's expectations. It means speaking up when something bothers you. It means saying no without writing a 5-page apology. It means leaving situations that consistently disrespect you. It means understanding that protecting yourself is not an act of aggression. It's an act of responsibility, because nobody is coming to do it for you. One of the hardest pills recovering nice girls have to swallow is that the world often respects boundaries more than sacrifices. People don't necessarily value you because you gave everything. Sometimes they simply become accustomed to receiving everything. And when you stop giving it, they act shocked. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you've changed the rules. This is why so many women feel guilty during their villain arc. They're not actually becoming villains. They're becoming visible, honest, and unwilling to absorb every inconvenience just to keep the peace. And people who benefited from the old version of them don't always like that. But growth was never supposed to be comfortable, especially for the person who was conditioned to believe that everyone else's needs mattered more than their own. The truth is, kindness is a beautiful quality, and so is empathy, and so is generosity. But without boundaries, those qualities become invitations for exploitation. Without boundaries, kindness becomes self-neglect. Empathy becomes self-sacrifice. Generosity becomes depletion. And eventually, you find yourself wondering why you're so tired all the time. It's because you've been feeding everyone except yourself. So, when I say eat or be eaten, I'm not telling you to become ruthless. I'm telling you to stop volunteering yourself as the meal. You don't need to dominate people. You don't need to intimidate people. You don't need to become cold. You simply need to understand that your survival matters too. Your comfort matters too. Your needs matter too. Your boundaries matter too. And if learning that makes people uncomfortable, that's okay. Because every nice girl eventually discovers something that changes her life. Being kind and being defenseless are not the same thing. And the moment you learn the difference, everything starts to change for the better. Alright ladies, that is all for today's video. If you'd like to keep up with more of my content, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Reina Safo. One last thing, always remember to protect the woman you're becoming. I'll see you in the next one.